Hey guys, all right. Well, we've got the Nacet, Vetiver, Martin de Candre, Fatip Piccolo with open comb base plate, special edition, and the Taj handle of the Semogue Owners Club Boar Brush. The goal here in this month of August is to use the same gear, and my goals in what I have chosen are I want to put 31 more uses on my Nacet blade, and today is the 320th, so that's a pretty cool little mini milestone. And I want to put more uses on this boar brush. It started out the month with only 10 or 12 uses on it, and so this is the one that I really want to push in terms of uses. The other boars that I have, I'm bringing them all up together so we can watch them as they develop and learn about how the different brands behave. Well, this guy I want to get to the future quicker so that I can get these tips to split and experience that. So that's why I chose him for this month. And he has been in the water for a few minutes. Let's put him back. You can see a little bit of water already on my shirt. I just did another practice use of the brush that I did yesterday, the Umo brush. This is the Manchuria knot, and this is in my wolf whiskers. Yeah, wolf whiskers, and this is just a 24 millimeter. Look how big it is. It's because I've lofted it pretty high, and it did turn out to be a little softer today than yesterday, so I'm encouraged because I definitely want it to head in that direction. And I used Sterling Hipster as my test soap, as my trial soap, because I hadn't smelled this scent before. Just got it in a couple weeks ago. And Sterling, of course, man, it made me miss the performance of that soap. Now I have to use MdC, which is not quite as good. It's a good soap, but it's not as good as Sterling. Sterling is a very good soap, in my opinion. All right, so I've shown you everything. Let us align the blade, show you the blade. I just keep it in the razor between shaves since I'm using the same gear every day. And the Nacet here, and there's the 3 dots kind of between the 2 posts there and slightly higher than center line. And you can actually see the open comb slots since we're dealing with the open comb base plate of the Fatip. And that's what the Nacet name looks like on the blade. And so I just put it in there. I mean, I'll have to check the alignment since I took it out. Some razors you don't have to worry about the alignment, and it stayed good. But on the ones that you do, make sure you check them every time you loosen that head, because if it moves in a wrong way, then one side may be quite smooth, the other side could bite you because too much is exposed. All right, now let's discuss the strategies for today's shave. Since I pre-shaved, I didn't shave at all, but I just lathered up, that's all, and then I washed it away. So that means I have a pre-washed face today. And here's the Vetiver from Martin de Candre. It is gradually going down. Oh, I don't want to forget, a very kind viewer reminded me that the cost is going to be different from people around the world for MdC. And so yesterday, after I had done some math, I was telling you guys that it looks like I'm getting about 1/2 gram of use per use, 1/2 gram of soap per use of the MdC, which is just 1/10 gram more than what I can get with Sterling. And that means that in about 13 months or so, I will have used up the whole tub. Well, that's kind of expensive when you say $70 for the tub. Well, that's $70 if you're in the US, because the shipping is so expensive. 40 euros, something like that, is apparently, I think 40 to 45 is what he mentioned online in the comment section of the other video. And so that, sounds like that might be what it's like if you're in Europe, if you're able to I don't know what shipping is like, in Europe, from Paris to somewhat where else or whatever. Not Paris, but France. I don't know if MdC, well, I guess I can find out, huh? See if it says, it just says made in France. I'm not able to tell where. So the price comparison is going to be different if you're able to get this shipped to you for less than we have to have it in America. And so it's going to be a more cost efficient soap. I still don't think it's going to touch, sterling. Instead of being 6 times more expensive, it might be 4 times more expensive, something like that. That's not as bad. It makes it better on a per month. That still makes it relatively low cost per month, because at the American price of about $70 to get a tub, then that's going to cost you about $5 a month if it only lasts 13 months. If I were to be able to find a way to use 0.4, or I use this some more this month and figure out that 0.4 is my average usage, then that means it would go a little over 16 months. And that means it would be $4 a month at the American price of $70 per tub to get the tub. And that's still a low cost soap option. Okay, that's a good thing about MdC. All right, so I want to be clear. The price is definitely going to be different if you're somewhere else in the world. And you know what? I just want to now let me say thank you to all you international viewers there. I think we've got Alan up in Canada. We've got Akim is in Singapore. I know that we have somebody from the Philippines. Definitely some folks in Europe that have contacted me. We've got some folks from the UK. It's really neat. I appreciate the views. I appreciate, but mostly more than that, I don't really care about views. It's neat, but the views also mean I'm reaching people, and more views means more people are enjoying my videos, and I consider them pretty instructive, and so I'm glad that I'm helping people, and that's what I'm happy about. But even more, I enjoy talking with you guys online. Now, in a way, I hope I don't get too popular with my videos, too many subscribers to where I can't talk with you guys as easily online, because if you get so many that you eventually have to, pick and choose who you answer and that sort of thing. But right now I'm able to keep up, and I'm really happy about that. And it's really great to talk to you guys online, answer your questions, learn from your technique. We've got folks like Warren, who's telling me about some of his technique. George checked in just recently, inquired about my son and his snake bite. He's doing well. Thank you for that. And so I'm just really happy to be interacting with all you guys. Just wanted to say thank you. All right, so let us keep on going with MdC. We have tried 12 swirls for the last couple of days. 2 days ago, the 12 swirls just needed 2 teaspoons of water, and it produced kind of a perfect economical lather. Yesterday, the 12 swirls picked up more soap than that same amount of swirls did the day before. And I had to use another extra teaspoon of water, and I ended up with 6 or 7 teaspoons, 6 or 7 passes of lather. So let's try 12 again, see what happens. We'll try to get some consistent results, or at least a range that we can call consistent. How about that? Okay, so the brush. One. And that was 12. Look at that. It just doesn't look like much, does it? I'm still kind of giggling at that. I still think it's hilarious. All right. I'm going to go and kind of wipe this down. I'm really happy to have not pre-shaved, but pre-washed my face with the Hipster, because the scent is actually kind of strong on that one. We'll see how it smells. Oh, it's bringing out something different in the Vetiver. It's almost earthy, funky. Interesting. How about that? Got a little bit of soap already. Has this much lather going on. Go ahead and put in a teaspoon of water. See, maybe this lather will resemble more the 2 day ago lather where I had just right, you know. Or maybe it'll resemble yesterday's plethora of suds. Yeah, see already we've got something nice going. So that's good. It looks like we're in a good spot today. The 12 does not seem to be too little of a load. Yeah, that is so interesting. And you can play with layering like that. You can almost tell a story. You can pull different things out of a scent. If you pick just the right scent to maybe do a pre-shave with, or if you use your soap as kind of stage 1, then your aftershave can be stage 2, and sometimes you can make it the same if you want to keep smelling the same way. But if you find two that really transition nicely into each other, like maybe something with some citrus, some orange or something you enjoy during your shave, but then you don't really want to smell like an orange all day, and so you have an aftershave that maybe has some orange combined with some sandalwood or something woody, and so then that transfers, and it's a neat little conversion there for your nose. And then of course you've got situations like this where the vetiver is changed. My perception is changed because of the whatever scents are in the hipster. They are affecting how I perceive the vetiver, and that's pretty neat. It's almost like your second soap could be is variable, because you may smell different things depending on what you put in your nose first. Now this lather is looking good. It's not light or airy or anything like that. And we have 2 teaspoons in it. One of the things I'm learning as we're going here is to leave that MdC a little drier. I can't help but add 1/2 teaspoon here. I hope that's not too much. So we are going a little bit over the 2 teaspoons from 2 days ago, but it's still pretty good. And it looks like I don't have a ton of lather. I don't think I'm going to end up with, you know, a ton of extra passes. And so this looks like it might be a nice economical mix. Such a different, the highness, the greenness of the vetiver, that aspect of the vetiver is totally being muted by the hipster. Very interesting. Vetiver is a common scent used in many soaps and aftershaves, and so a soap like this is going to match with a lot of different aftershaves because of that, I'm sure. I was getting kind of tired of this scent over and over this month, but with kind of doing a test lather, that might be how I continue to enjoy the scent, is to do little practice lathers that kind of do a pre-wash, a pre-shave lather before the actual soap is put together. All right, get my face wet. First day today in my new job, and it went well. It's COVID days, and so the company is pretty much everybody's working from home. But I had to go in and pick up my company computer, sign a few forms, that kind of thing. and I'll be doing, you know, corporate training and things like that while other admin processes are being done. Now this is pretty thick, so what I want to do, and it's a lot. I mean thick, but what I really meant to say was there's a lot on my face here, and if I keep working it, it's gonna just make a mess and fall down. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more water to the brush and I took away kind of the excess of the suds, and I'm sure you'll see it'll be just fine. This brush does feel very good with this lather. It's not as soft as some synthetics, but I kind of like the feel of the animal brushes, the organicness to them. Yeah, this definitely needs a little bit more water here. In case you're new, I tilt my head after I put water droplets on a brush so that they don't come out the bottom here. They go to the tips and join the lather instead of sneaking out. You can put it in the open part of the brush like that, or you can do painting motions like this, put it on top, but I usually found that I get more drips when I do that, but you know, whatever you enjoy. And that's why I use a syringe, because it makes it easy to put a whole teaspoon in the lather in the bowl, or just a few drops on my face, on the brush. Either way, very controlled and quick. The guys who like to dip their hands in the water and dribble a couple of drops at a time, that would take me forever, because you know, I'm using about 3 teaspoons of water. Of course, I guess the solution then is to leave more water on your brush, you know, before you load the soap. But anyway, all right, I think this lather is going to be good. Let's take a feel of it just to remind me how this lather feels. Yeah, see, there's not much to it. It feels good when the brush is on your face. When you move your fingers around on your skin, it is kind of slick a little bit, but in general, there's just not much to it. It's so many better performing soaps. In essence, I've got a full sink, but I have a bowl that actually is under the faucet. So when I do a rinse, it kind of fills the bowl, freshens it, and that is what I rinse my fingertips and my razor in. We do have 24 hours of growth today. A little bit of tugging, but not really very much at all. Let's discuss the Gillette Slide. Normally, a shave stroke kind of looks like this. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to move just straight down. That's the direction of the stroke. My razor head is perpendicular. Notice I had to do that low because I will get cut if I have my finger too high right there. My comb here, my razor head is moving perpendicular to the direction of my stroke. The Gillette Slide, and we've got documentation on various Gillette pamphlets and booklets and things like that. They called it the Slide, but it's basically a slant type direction. And so I'm going to do that over here. Right now I know that my growth goes down this way, takes a turn under my jawline and goes across. Well, that is a prime time to tilt it this way. But instead of going this way, I'm going to go down like this. And so it's a slanted type motion. And I'll go ahead and do the rest of my area in that slant. And basically, if you think about the old guillotines, the pictures that you see back in France and stuff, huh? Martin de Candre, mention of guillotine, all French, why not? The guillotines were made with tilted blades to come down and chop the head off, because they figured out, maybe by experimentation, that the flat blade would just didn't quite have the cutting action. It was a smoother cutting action when it was slanted coming down. The edge did more movement instead of a whack at something like an axe might. And so, in the same way, many people enjoy slant razors that kind of help you by automatically doing that, but you can also just tilt the razor yourself and have a normal razor. And if I wanted to, let's say this area had suds, and I wanted to maybe have a slight against the grain aspect to my shave, by tilting this way and moving down, I had a slight with the grain aspect to it. But if I tilted it the other way and went down like that, that would have a slight against the grain aspect to it. Over here, kind of going to stick with the grain for the first pass here. All right. And I will do a rinse. Now, most of my face gets shaved really well without really having to worry about advanced or tricky techniques. But the one place, my tricky spot right here, I will definitely bring in that slanted motion sometimes to try to come at it different ways. Because there are tricky spots that the slant will help you out. I have plenty of water on my face, which is good to bring down the lather a little bit. It needed a little bit more water. Yeah, the brush just continues to feel good this month. Each day it seems to get just a little better. Not noticeable really each day. But as I think back to how it felt when it only had 14 uses or 10 uses, I can tell the difference. Somebody downstairs has got the TV pretty loud. And the first pass may have had a little tug to it, but this one feels great. All right. And rinse. All right, third pass. And we have got, I think I hit the money on the head with the lather today. Glad I added that extra half teaspoon. And in fact, I had to add another probably half, when I was adding droplets to the brush. So this again looks like a 3 teaspoon water lather. And sure enough, we have quite a bit of lather left over. You know what I think that means? 2 days ago, Had kind of a meager amount, but yesterday and today we've had to add 3 teaspoons of water, and we've ended up with 6 or 7 passes of lather. So I think that means tomorrow we need to bump it down to 11 swirls and see what happens. Okay, 3rd pass, and always, whether it's 1st pass or 3rd pass, nice light touch. Now you can often get away with a heavier hand on that 1st pass. Because your stubble will kind of act as a protective buffer. I mean, unless you're using a really aggressive razor. I like smoother razors. And so that 1st pass has so much stubble that it can often protect you a little bit, but make sure that with your 2nd and 3rd passes that you have a careful light touch. At least that's the way I do it. I mean, maybe you like a heavy hand. Maybe the razor that you have and your skin works fine with you pressing some, you know? That's just not the general advice that will often cause people problems. And so I do advise against it in general, but if you try it and it works for you, that's the thing about shaving. If you walk away from the shave feeling good about your closeness, feeling good about the way your skin feels, feeling good about that's that comfort, and then it's a good shave. No rules. Those are the 2 rules. I got a nice happy shave, and so let's find the balm that we're using this month. Soap Commander Integrity Unscented, Menthol-free. As usual, the 3D printed bowl that I used today has a link in the description of the video that points you to the plans if you have a 3D printer. If you don't have a 3D printer, you can print it yourself via online services. 3 of them are outlined at sugardaddyshaves.com. If you click the 3D printed or 3D, there's a link on the left that says 3D something. And 3 of my users have chimed in with the services that they used and were happy with. And so I'm passing the information on to you. All right, so we're at the end of the shave. I'm going to loosen up my razor, run some water through it just to kind of get the suds out. Another advantage of really wet lathers is you don't have the soap buildup that you have to clean off all the time. And yes, you saw the extra lather that we have. Let's just try 11 swirls tomorrow. Maybe that's the optimum load. You know, when we tried 12 and it was perfect, maybe that was just because there were some other situations at play. Who knows? We're just playing around here, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to clean up. All right, here's the brush and its splay that is probably slightly thickening around the ends as we go each day. It's already a really nice brush. I'm really happy with it, and I look forward to what it's going to turn into as more and more tips split. As I mentioned a couple days ago, I found one tip here on the edge that was split into 5 different tips. Pretty neat. Also, wanted to mention, this is the Taj handle, and it's a resin, solid resin. If you have one of the Semogues with the wooden handle, as many of them are, even the wooden handle that's the painted kind, I do not soak those prior to the shave. I soak them vertically, and I only have the water level come up to the end of the bristles, and I don't let it hit that. Now, during the shave, I don't mind submerging it in water if I need to, something like that. They are stained and treated and things like that. But then after the shave, I make sure to take my towel and give the handle a good dry, especially if it's one of the wooden ones. And then it should last a nice long time. But with it, you can be a little bit more lazy with it with the Taj because it's resin. But I'm enjoying this handle so much. I think it's a beautiful brush. and it's also practical. I think there is something slightly different, maybe bigger about this handle. Maybe this little ramp right here is at a slightly different angle and my fingers hold it better. I don't know, but I have the wooden version of this same exact brush, and so I debated not getting this one because practically speaking I have the same brush, but I'm glad I did, and who knows, maybe I'll sell the other Semogue at some point because maybe I don't need both. All right, I'm going to keep cleaning up. And there we go. Shave is done. Face feels good. No irritation at all. Like I said, with this Marathon blade, and I've said it for a couple hundred uses now, I think this guy might fail, not in the comfort level. Not all of a sudden it starts tugging. I think it's just going to fail when I am shaving, and at the end of the shave, I just keep getting shaves that aren't quality, that aren't cut very close. It'll probably be in this region right here because that's my toughest area. But whenever I start doing a 4-pass shave and it's just not close enough right there, and it happens over several shaves, and I know I don't feel like it's going to bounce back, or I don't feel like some reasonable technique doesn't help the situation, then I think that's when I'm going to retire it. I don't think it's going to just start tugging all of a sudden and be uncomfortable, unreasonably uncomfortable. So we'll just see what happens though. I'm just guessing. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching across the world. Hey, I'm just glad to be glad you guys are watching. I'm glad to be communicating with you in the comments as well. Hey, if you watch this far, post a comment on the video and tell me where you're from, what region of the world. It'd be great to hear from you, especially those guys I don't already know about. Hey, shout out to Peter. Been commenting with you a lot lately. Thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate that. I believe you said that we have very similar beard growths, and so, man, when you can find other shavers like that, you can a lot of times get really good information there. And so I'm glad to be able to help you out with my own issues, and maybe they'll help you with yours. So all you guys, take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.